Hello there. Alex Sturgeon here with the Hobbyplex Show podcast. I'm manager and race director at the Hobbytown Hobbyplex in Omaha, Nebraska. And I was actually just scrolling through our RC sign-up list for the Techno 1/8 scale winner series as we're doing something a little different this year, going online sign-up only and capping it off at 175. I think I already have had a deluge of messages and stuff, either telling me that they're going to pay when they get there, which is fine as long as you contacted me ahead of time, and I know, and then also wondering about like, whoops, I signed up twice or something like that. So I'll get all that cleaned up tonight when I get home. And then also, nobody's going to say paid right now because one of the quirks about RC sign up is that the tracks have to manually click paid. So basically, it goes into our PayPal account, and then I see who it is, match it up with the entry, click paid. So you got to do that by hand. So I've already had people freaking out saying, "No, it doesn't. I paid, but it doesn't show that I'm paid. What the hell is going on?" Blah 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 blah. So apparently, there's still people out there that don't know how to use RC sign up or have never used it before. So we're taking care of that, but already 106 entries. So I was kind of guessing we'd have like 100 right out of the gate, and then it might fill in or it might not. To be honest, I'm not too worried about it, but so far seems like things are going okay. I've had, actually kind of forgot today was the sign up day, and I was out on the water trying to get my last fishing trips in before it starts to get really cold on my boat. And somebody messaged me at like 3:30 and they're like, "Hey, sign up's not open yet." And I'm like, "I know, because it's not 5 o'clock yet." And then I was like, crap, it is almost 5 o'clock though. I better get in. So it takes an hour to get to where I like to go. So at about 3:50 or so, I actually just brought everything in, even though I didn't want to, and rolled on in and packed up everything and went home, and then actually rode my scooter here today. So that's been fun. I haven't done that in a little while. It's kind of brisk out too, so that was kind of fun. Dodging cars and potholes here in Omaha and all that good stuff. So, yeah, like, kind of is what it is. But I'm going to switch this to me. There we go. And I got no Will today, in case you're wondering. Will texted me literally right after I got the boat in the water, and was like, "Hey, I can't make it. Work called me in or whatever, and I can't go." And I'm like, "Okay." I had two options at that point because it was like 5:30, and I'm like, I could either cancel it, even though I'd already posted that we're doing it, or I could just come in here and interact with the chat and maybe get some stuff off of my mind. Talk about, maybe the summer. I know it's been probably like a month and a half since we've been on. So, there's kind of a lot to talk about. I don't mind talking to myself, but if you're in the chat, I'll just go ahead and interact with you guys today too. So, we'll try to fill in the hour or whatever. And then Will and I were actually talking about maybe doing like an after-hours show from the basement. He's coming up to Omaha to race Oval on Saturday, and so he'll be in town. So maybe we can do that. That'll be kind of fun. There's no Nebraska football game on, so I'm okay with that. And then also, give me a second because I got to get this out of the way because it's cold. I just got it. Oh man, that's really good when it's cold. I've said that a lot before, but all right. So where do I want to begin? I want to give a shout out to Eddie Henley, the owner of the Hoosier RC Hobbyplex. I'm not even giving him any crap because it says Hobbyplex there this time, but the hurricane's affecting, I guess, his hometown. I guess him and Angie are actually from Asheville, North Carolina, and so he packed up his Bobcat and trailer and went down there. And I just saw some updates. He's been helping where he can, so that's pretty awesome of that dude to do that. So I just want to give him a shout out. I was thinking about that on the ride here. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So I know he's got should have had it ready, but I know he's got maybe a GoFundMe link. See if I can find it. Just got a $20 super chat, our first super chat of the day, and our first super chat in a while. So thank you, Mr. Nick Nuthouse. I know we haven't been on in a while, so he wants to know, how was the renovation? What was good? What was bad? What could we have done better? Well, let's see. Sorry. I'm trying to look for this, see if he's got a thing, but while I'm thinking about that question. So maybe it was Ryan Lutz who did that. Trying to remember who it was that had set up a what was good, what was bad, and what could we have done better? I honestly don't know if there's anything we could have done better, because we've never really done this before. So we were only down 2 days apiece. So we were down for 2 days when we moved everything down there. We were down for 2 days when we moved everything back. I think the one thing that sort of made coming back up but take a little longer was just the parts. Just we had to when we took everything down there, we kind of left as much as we could on the actual logier with the pegs on. We dropped some stuff, but you could just go down there and then we kind of set everything up. Then you just sort of slid it in place for the temporary store. And then when we were coming back up, you couldn't really do that. And so there was a lot of stuff just going in boxes. And that took a while, because then you have to like reorganize it. And we're trying to get everything done by parts number, so we can find it, so our guys can put it away. We've got some non-RC oriented guys, so we try to keep everything as simple as possible. We by brand and then by part number, So that was the only thing that made everything take a little longer. And then there's also, while we were doing that, sorry, just had some McDonald's. That might not be the very best thing ever. While we were doing that, we were able to kind of go through the inventory and find some stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be in the new store. So there's some old parts. So we're gonna have a huge sale October 27th. That's gonna be a Sunday. It's gonna be a 1-day deal, and we might even be opening up early. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that at our next meeting. But we've done it before. But we've called it a purge sale. I might try to come up with a funny name or something like that. Maybe a spooktacular. But that's so cliche. I've thought about that too. I was like, spooktacular, and then I'm like, everybody uses spooktacular when it comes to Halloween. But anyways, I'll be doing some videos on that soon, because I already have a bunch of stuff already bagged up and ready to go. So there's gonna be a lot of parts from, every manufacturer, not just a few, but everything. What was good was that we were only closed for 2 days. What was good was that the flooring got done super fast. So Dustin killed it. The paint was done super fast. There weren't any real hang-ups. Like normally I would expect like something to go wrong. And I don't know if that's just the cynic in me, but I was expecting at least something to go wrong, and there really wasn't anything that went wrong. Like some shelves didn't get ordered that were supposed to be ordered, but that didn't take. It wasn't like a killer. We were able to get some stuff. I think everybody was surprised a little bit by the amount of space we kind of lost from the old way of doing it to the new way of doing it. So we had to add some more slider racks to the side that you guys can't see, to the parts dungeon, as I like to call it. Otherwise, we weren't gonna have enough room to put everything up on the wall. But now everything's up, and everybody's been getting into the groove of being able to find the parts, being able to put the parts away, kind of knowing where stuff goes. I think between some feedback from our customers have been they kind of miss being able to see everything that was on the big wall. But the thing is like the way that we did it was the stuff that we can't fit on the main shelf. Kind of like in my head I was thinking of like a showcase, like we want to like have a showcase, and so this whole front section in front of the RC counter is kind of a showcase. So that's where you put all your hop ups from Traxxas and racing hop ups. That's where you put your tires. I love how we have our tools set up. Soldering irons are all over there on the RC side now, where before they were way on the other side of the store. The crawling space works pretty good. Everything seems brighter too, which is nice. But like you can't take an X-Max or an XRT and put it on top of that 8-foot showcase area because A, they're super heavy and it'd be kind of awkward, but B, then you really couldn't see above it. So we tried to keep everything one level, and then from a couple steps back, you can still see what's on the wall. Everything that's underneath of what's on the wall that you can't see is all overstock. So there's really no reason anybody would really need to see those anyways, because it's all just stuff that's already out and visible for everybody to see. So, other than having a little bit of the backside hidden, and there's still a couple spots where we want to be able to move stuff around and maybe have some stuff, mostly car kits, like available for everybody to go, oh, look at that one and look at that one. I think everything's actually worked out really well, and we'll see. I mean, there'll always be time to change stuff around, and nothing's exactly set in stone. That was good. What could we have done better? I don't know if I already answered that one. So what was good? What was bad? There really wasn't anything bad. What could we have done better? I don't know. Maybe get the carpet track going again a little quicker. I think the carpet track probably could have gotten up sooner, but the problem is just staffing. Like part of it is just there's only so many hours in a day, and you're trying to, not spend 24 of those hours right at the store, I think is a thing for me. So good question though. That's a good question. I hope everybody liked the renovation videos. I think it's going to be fun to go back and look at those from time to time, just to remember what the old store was like compared to what the new store is like. I think the new store just feels cleaner, and it's definitely brighter. The cleanliness thing for me, it just, that old carpet just drove me nuts because, it's carpet. It's 20 years old. Think of all the mud and rain and dog poo and dog pee that's happened over the years. Monkey poo and monkey pee. We've had a monkey in the store a couple times. Think of the just this sheer amount of dirt that just got ground into that carpet, and it was just staying there, So the new floor is awesome, and it's just, the whole place just feels cleaner and better. And to be honest with you, I actually used to think that like one of the reasons why I felt like crap at the end of the night sometimes was because of the floor, of the carpet, and all the particulates, I guess, that might be affecting the end of the day. I was actually pretty shocked when we pulled all that carpet up and there wasn't any mold anywhere. So that was good. That goes to the good part of it. Because that could have been really bad, but it wasn't. It was good. So I was shocked though there wasn't any mold anywhere. And then little inside info, but there were a couple mouse homes that we found, which is gross, but they've been there for years, and we've just set traps out and kind of dealt with it. And we thought about having like a Hobbyplex cat every once in a while, but then you got to change the litter or whatever, and I don't know if that's a great idea. Plus, people could be allergic to cats, our customers and stuff. So, or people bring those dogs in every once in a while, which we still allow, and maybe those two things wouldn't work out. So I don't know. But this new setup, I don't think we're going to have that near as often. They might always be around, especially downstairs, But again, it's the nature of the beast when you take over, what once was a prairie, even though that was 20 years ago. So, yeah, good question. Thank you. Kevin says, hey, Alex, send some of that coolness out here to Phoenix. 113 today. There's still 113 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. That's pretty crazy. Nuthouse says he figured the stairs had to be killer on the knees for all the trips. It wasn't that bad because we hired a whole bunch of church kids to come and do most of the heavy lifting. So we basically just used child labor for 2 days to help take all the kids up and down the stairs. One we moved downstairs, one we moved back. That actually worked out fine. I spent most of my first day of moving back, I actually stayed upstairs and just started merchandising. So I think I got the entire crawler section done on day one, and then kind of figured out where everything goes after that. And then we started filling in the parts, that's why we didn't do our grand opening right away, because we needed time to get everything up there, really is what it was all about. So yeah, dude, that was kind of brutal, but I'm glad that part is over, because now we can just kind of focus on what we got coming up. And I didn't want to bail from this because I wanted to talk about fall and winter and everything that we're doing at the Plex. We just got done with our first Carpet Off-Road Syndicate, so we only have 4 of those races left to go, which is crazy. We kind of did things a little different. I was hoping Will and I could talk about that a little bit, because he's going to be coming up Saturday for Dirt Oval. But all of our main weekend racing takes place for Family Friday Off-Road on Friday, and then Saturday we'll have our series races that we do. So we already have one Carpet Off-Road Syndicate in the books. This week is our Dirt Oval. Next week we're back to a Carpet Off-Road Syndicate race, since we don't have to have the Techno Series in October, so we were able to fit a second Carpet Off-Road, and then Carpet Onwards at the end of the month, and then the Techno Series the week after that. So everything kind of happens on Saturdays, and it kind of leaves Sundays open, not only for maybe one of us, like Tim or me, to have a day off, but also to make sure that we're staffed the way that we need to be staffed. So this weekend was kind of the starting off point, and then this week, so tomorrow, is Tiny Tuesday, Carpet Off-Road, our first Tiny Tuesday, October 8th, Carpet Off-Road, and that's going to be, I hope it's going to be a normal turnout. So 20, 25 entries, would be super happy. Jake is once again going to be running the races, so I'll be working all day. I'll be in the store, and of course I'll probably point to where I think the jump should go. But we got that going on, and then of course Wednesday racing, we haven't stopped that since we picked up after the renovation. And then Thursday is our first Hobbyplex Diecast Racing League, the HDRL, and I have a timing system now set up for our Hobbyplex for our I say Hot Wheels racing, but you can't say Hot Wheels when you're promoting it or having it part of your logo, because it's an infringement on copyright or whatever, or trademark. So it's the Hobbyplex Diecast Racing League. And I got to get that set up and tested. I was going to try to do it this weekend, and then I remembered that they're doing the Omahawks auction on Sunday. And so if I would have set it up Saturday, they would have just taken it down on Sunday. And then I'm going to be very, what's the word? Richard, what's the word that you use when territorial? Is that a word?
Territorial, sure.
Okay, territorial. So I'm going to, well, from my timing system, because I don't want anybody to break it. I want to make sure that I'm the only person that touches that thing.
Oh, very much so. Territorial.
Territorial. Okay, there you go. So I just gonna make sure because it's 3D printed kind of, and it's also electronic. So I just got to make sure. I think for practice we might not even use it because it's got an auto function, which I hope works, and I don't want any kids like yanking on stuff or breaking stuff because then I'm gonna do my dad face, and then everybody there will see me with my dad face, and yeah, they're not all like most people aren't like my wife, and like. My wife has seen me angry many times, but I remember the first time that my wife saw me angry, and I thought, "Oh no," because like I'm gonna get dumped, you know. But nope, she just told me to quit my. She gave it right back to me, and I was like, "Oh, this woman's awesome." But not all people are like that. Like I remember one time I was working on the off-road track when it was up. Where Holiday Bright Lights is. And I think I got mad at the hose or something, like something really stupid, but I was super stressed out. And so I was like trying to whip the hose out of place so I could pull it because it was hung up on something. And I just like freaked out and just started like beating the end of the hose on the thing. And a couple of our racers like looked at me like I was crazy. And then I never saw them again. So I try to keep that to a minimum. So I'm going to make sure that this timing system, first off, that it works. If it doesn't work, it's no big deal. We'll just keep doing what we've been doing. But as long as it does work, I try to keep it from breaking because stuff tends to get broken around the Plex sometimes. And that's one thing I definitely do not want to get broken. So there's that. Comment in the chat if you guys have seen my dad face. From time to time. I was mad at Hoosier after the 40 plus main because I totally screwed it up, and I was really mad at myself. And I was walking around with a pretty bad scowl on my face for about 10 minutes. But then it was fine. Then it was fine. It is what it is. I still got second in the series, so there's that. Anyways. Nuthouse, with Sundays being race free, is the Plex going to try to start something else like Magic or Pokemon events into the Lincoln store really focus on gaming versus racing? Yeah, so let's see. So this Sunday, they're actually doing Mini Z racing, and I'm pretty sure that it's Mark, Don, Vishal, I think, that might be setting it up, and they're just going to run it on their own. So they don't even need us. So they're actually going to bring Mini Z racing up to the Plex on Sundays, but not every Sunday. I don't know the exact schedule, but I know the first one is this Sunday. So there is going to be that going on Sundays. As far as gaming and stuff goes, dude, I think that's a really good idea, and that would be awesome. But the problem is people. Like, we need to find somebody to run it or to, I don't even know the word for it, but the trick is people. And like, I personally like working on Sundays up in the store because Sunday's kind of like cleanup day. So it's like when, it's like if stuff gets sold wrong on Friday and Saturday, they're bringing it on Sunday. And so then I got to be the fixer. And I don't mind being the fixer, as long as people aren't yelling at me like it's my fault. So, because it's not my fault, it's their fault. Or, if it is their fault. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes people come in and they ask for a specific thing and they get it, and then it's not what they actually wanted, or they picked out the wrong thing to begin with and then want to bring it back, and it's fine. I like taking care of that. So I actually like working on Sundays. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good idea though. We got to see. I always thought that we at the Plex, like, we should have something going on every single night. So that's kind of how it is in the wintertime. Like, we have Tiny Tuesday on Tuesday. We have Carpet on Road on Wednesday. We have Hot Wheels on Thursday. We have Family Friday on Friday. We have racing on Saturday. And we had racing on Sunday. So the only day we don't do stuff is Monday. So I feel like Sundays, it's going to be kind of weird. But then also, I got to tell you that when we do have open Sundays in the wintertime, because before So before, we always had racing every weekend. So people would come in and say, hey, I want to run my car on the track. And you're like, well, you can't because the track's closed because we're racing Dirt Oval on Sunday, or we're racing on-road on Sunday. On-road on Sunday, we close the track with respect to the on-road racers, so I don't have to worry about dirt and stuff being dragged in. And people would always be like, well, what the heck, man? What kind of place is this? I can't practice. So when we have had open Sundays or open Saturdays during the wintertime, it's usually pretty busy with people using the track. And from a business standpoint, that's $20 a shot. So I actually don't mind the fact that we're not doing anything on a Sunday, and that can just be an open track day, and we're going to have all sorts of people using the track. So I don't necessarily mind that either. But I see what you're saying. And there's plenty of room to do that. We got some Beyblade, right? That's what that's called. Beyblade players. I think they come in on Tuesdays from like 4 to 6 or something like that. So, yeah, we got all sorts of space. We can definitely use it. Let's see. So I talked about everything coming up at the Plex. Let's talk about, since I'm here by myself. So once again, Will's not with us tonight. He had got called into work, and so I didn't want to cancel because we haven't been on in a while. So I don't know. We'll see what that's all about. Trying to think what I was going to think about, or what I was going to talk about. Will Saturday speed be more normal when we go back to dirt in 2025, like 3 of the 4 Saturdays? That's a good question. So Saturday speed, obviously we didn't race for 2.5 months, and I think Saturday speed we'll try to club race as much as we can in the summertime, starting in April again, just like we did. And I'm really looking forward to the summer series going back to its full schedule. So we'll have, 5 races stretched out over 4 months instead of what we did this year, which was 4 races stretched out over 2 months, I think is what it was. So 2.5 months. So yeah, everything should go back to regular next year, and probably won't do the truck series again. It just didn't get the attendance that I was expecting or wanting to get. So there will be some days off in there too, just straight up days off where we just have open track in the summertime. A lot of that's just for personal reasons. Like we've raced for a while there. We were racing every Saturday straight for like 10 years, and that's fun and all, but every once in a while this guy needs a break. So, we'll see what next year's schedule looks like. I kind of already got the summer series sort of sketched out, and, obviously I have, the spring race, the ProTech Spring Champs, the same weekend as always. And the INS race should be the same weekend as it always is, so it'll be that weekend after July 4th weekend, as far as I know, unless something changes. And yeah, everything should go back to normal, and we'll try to race as much as we can on Saturdays as long as we have the attendance. So, the cool thing is nowadays, like, I used to get really freaked out when we didn't race on a Saturday when we were supposed to, when we only had 4 people show up. And now it doesn't bother me as much. There's 2 ways I look at it. It's like, A, it's just more practice than for me, and I'm at the point now where I almost just like driving my car and not even racing sometimes. I just like going out there and getting the laps, but also it's like a day off too eventually, right? So I don't mind those days as much as I used to. I used to get really freaked out, and I used to really get worried, and I don't really do that much anymore. So yeah, the schedule should be okay. One thing about the wintertime we don't really have to worry about too much is the Saturday schedule being one of those days where we just don't do anything, because we had a really good start to the Carpet Off-Road Syndicate. Didn't get a chance to go through as many of our jumps as I wanted to last week. I took a Tuesday from the store, and I went down and I pulled a bunch of jumps out, and I was trying to replace a bunch of the older, like, gray ratty carpet with some of this office carpet that we had gotten, just to like make things, it's a lot tougher, so it just looks less ragged when I get it all done. Because basically all those square foot tall pedestals that we use to make tabletops and stuff. All those should be covered by this like office carpet. And I think it's going to look really nice when it's done. I also want to eventually paint the sides of all of our jumps. But either way, Friday when we were pulling the jumps out, we kind of repaired one or two of them as needed, and got a lot of help from Dylan Lind and oh God, who else helped me on? I forget. It was me, Dylan. Who else was there? I forgot. Oh no. You know who you are. If you're watching, you know who you are, and I appreciate it. And that was a big help. Setting up track by myself takes like 4.5 hours. Setting up my track with extra help takes like 2 hours. So it cut it in half, and that was pretty awesome. So, Steve, of course. So it was Dylan Lind and then Steve and Alex Eichler. So those guys rock. And I don't know why I forgot that you guys were there. And it was a big help. I didn't have to do it all by myself, so I was pretty happy. I want to go over some results real quick from our first carpet off-road. We haven't done a results show in a while. Question from Will Fenton. He had a pretty good day. Is it a different off-road carpet track every week? It can be. So it kind of depends. So because we were going to take the track up for the Omahawks race on Sunday, I kind of had carte blanche to pick all that up. So that's what I did. So so I could make up any track I want. What I really like to do is not even have it as technical as it was on Saturday. I kind of wanted a little bit more flowy, jumpy, back and forth. We didn't even really use like half of our jumps. So he said he was going to put down a layout today and possibly tomorrow, and we'll see what that looks like. But usually, unless they're having an on race the very next day, I tend to move some stuff to make it flow better for the 10 scale off-road cars. Because sometimes an on-road layout that they like to do, which is really twisty and turny and not a whole lot of straights other than a straightaway, we need straights to have the jumps. So I tend to move stuff around. So it has traditionally been different every single week. Good question. We had 58 entries, 36 drivers. I was guessing 60, so we're pretty much right there. I was pretty happy with that. That was pretty sick. Perfect race day, in my opinion. We had 3 heats of 21.5, so we went all the way down to C main and had some good bump ups. And yeah, we got done in a reasonable time. I kind of was watching the Nebraska game as we were racing, thanks to YouTube and your illegal streams. That's great. But really good day. And I just want to go over some results here real fast. So Plex Spec Beginner, we had 4. And it was Amber Becerra taking the TQ and win. Will Fenton got 2nd. And Kyrie Barrett qualified 3rd, finished 3rd. And Adam Wright finished 2nd. And it was a pretty good race back there for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Amber sort of started to drive away as everybody's crashing around her. So she got out of there quick. Stadium Truck went to David Peevler. He got a TQ and win. Jake Poteet was 2nd. Chris Heide was 3rd. Pretty much 1st, 2nd, 3rd, finished right where they qualified. And then Nick Sneathan, Ronnie Went, and Ryan Anderson. It's cool to see Ryan Anderson up. I think he's from Des Moines area. Then we had Mod 2 Wheel. And so this year we split. And I know some of you are going to roll your eyes. And some of you are going to be like, oh, cool, maybe I might come now. So we'll see what happens. But in previous years, we only did 40 plus mod when we had the crash in, right? Big event, usually at the end of February. And this year, I had a couple of requests to have 40 plus all year long. And then I'm starting to think about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm 45 years old. I've earned this. So I put 40 plus in there. So guys like me and Dave don't have to race Andrew and Caden anymore, which was kind of nice. So I kind of liked racing Mod 2 Hill with these guys in the wintertime because it felt like a benchmark every once in a while. Like last year I won a club race. Like I won a syndicate race. And I was like, man, I'm back. And then like the next week I ended up not even making the A main. So yeah, there's that. Andrew Thomas got the win. Caden Berding finished second. So the Caden got the TQ. So they're tied in points going into round 2. They finished 0.2 of a second apart there at the end. And Caden was really catching Andrew there at the end. But Andrew's running really good lines. And for his first, it's everybody's first time on the carpet in a while. So it's pretty cool to see. Daniel Bender finished third, and then Mitchell Powell finished fourth. Mitchell was kind of struggling with that Mugen car. I'm going to see if I can help him get going a little bit because I really like my Mugen car. That's something I want to talk about tonight too. Expert 2 Bill Peevler got the win. TJ Williams running stock, so he finished second. Josh McMullen, Dalton Conrad, Connor Hausch, Ryan Anderson, Joey Fox, and Alex Eichler. That was your expert. And then we had a small mini B class, which was pretty rad. I was worried that we weren't going to have any, but we got some diehards out there. So Chris Hyde with the TQ and win. Dylan Lynn got second. And then Ryan Krause actually was going to race mine, and something happened in the last during warm-ups. I thought it was just a ball cut, but it was something worse. But he actually bought my car that morning and got it running and actually did really well with it. I was like, dude, you're doing really awesome. 13.5 four-wheel drive, saw Caden Berding taking the win, Dalton Conrad second, John Berding third, Mitchell Pavel fourth. 13.5 four-wheel drive this year. We split up expert and independent again, just to kind of give guys. I noticed last year there's a lot of separation between the first place person in the A main and like 6th, 7th, and 8th in the A main as far as lap times go, and that can be a struggle. Like that can be no fun. So if you got somebody like Caden coming up on you every like 4 laps or 5 laps or what it is, and you have to get out of the way, and you're trying to race at the same time, it's just not fun. So we did split that one up, and Dalton Conrad had a really good looking hot rod and just came up a little short. So Caden kind of walked away in the main. They tie in points going into round 2, which is pretty awesome. Independent 21.5 A main saw Jake Poteet from the 5th position take the win. Connor Hausch finished second. Jamie Peevler had a really good day in qualifying. Got the good resort. Ended up qualifying second, finished third. So a lot of improvement from him just from the last time we saw him. I believe at the crash in. Ronnie Went was 4th. Josh McMullen was 5th. Matt Wilcox and Ryan Leahy jumping into carpet this year. Finished 6th and 7th. And then Chris Hyde qualified straight in the A main, finished 8th. So there were 23, 21.5 independent drivers, I think, some crazy number like that. So that was really good. Biggest class, average Joes. I love it. I love the independent classes. Can't say enough about those guys. 40 plus mod was a banger. David Peevler had my number pretty much from the second qualifier on, and qualified first. I made a mistake early because I was trying to do this cool line where you could jump this whole techie section. So we had like this roller step down thing into a roller into a 90-degree left turn, and in practice I was jumping it like every lap. And then for some reason in qualifying I didn't. And then for some reason I tried to do it in the main and I crashed. And so I was already kind of at a deficit, kind of clawed my way back. And the damn thing too, like it should have been a 6-minute race. So this is I got to fix this. But so because we never ran 40 plus in the syndicate before, I drag and dropped it from the crash in. No, I didn't. I drag and dropped it from the classes screen. And so the main wasn't set up right, so it was only running 5 minutes. So we probably had another minute owed to us, but oh well, it's the same for everybody. So I passed him on the second to last turn and got the win. So he got TQ and I in second, and I got the win. So we're tied in points, which is again pretty freaking awesome. John Berdian finished third. Josh McMullen was fourth. Corey Tannehill's car broke. Kind of hurt it. Kind of saw it out the corner of my eye. But he was going pretty fast, too. And then independent four-wheel drive. Saw Connor Housh get in the TQ and win. Chris Hyde second. Nick Sneed in third. Ryan Cross fourth. And Josh McMullen wasn't able to start because his stuff was kind of wigging out on him there at the end. So I hope he gets that figured out. But overall, a really good first carpet off-road back at the Plex. We only have 5 rounds, kind of like a summer series. So there's 5 Saturdays in October. That's how we were able to squeeze in another one coming up next weekend. And then, then we got November, December, and one in January. And poof, just like that, we're done. There's an open Saturday in February that I don't think we have anything scheduled. So there might be like a just a one-off carpet off-road day. But it's not going to be like the double dip or anything like that because we just don't have enough Saturdays to do something like that. So the weekend of the 8th of February is the trackside INS race, I believe. So I left that date open so that Emerson and I could go to that, or any of our guys could go to that. I'm planning on doing it. So yeah, should be really good. It's kind of weird not having as many races this year for carpet off-road, but I also like I hope you guys know that I like what I do. I really do. But I hate putting the carpet off-road track up. Hate it. It's so much work. It's just like I don't look forward to it at all, but you got to do it. So I'm in a way I'm like, okay, good. We're only doing it, 6 times this year, but at the same time, I wish there were a few more. So, let's see. Got a stuffy nose today. It's weird. Going through. Did I watch the Alabama game? Let's switch to college football, shall we? Yeah, I did watch the Alabama game. Which one? Last week's was pretty crazy too versus Georgia. But I did catch the end of it, and I thought it was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So if you're out there watching our show and you're from Alabama and you're a super big Alabama fan, I'm not knocking your allegiance at all, but I'm a Husker fan. So anything that happens beyond what the Huskers happen to, I just sort of watch it and comment on it, and I thought it was hilarious. That was really funny. The crazy thing about yesterday was the number 1 team went down, the number 4 team went down, the number 9, 10, and 11 team went down, and then Miami almost lost, making it 6 upsets in one day in the top 25, but then they came back to win against Cal at the last 2 minutes of the game, I think is what it was. So pretty crazy. And thankfully, Nebraska got it done, even though it was ugly. Win's a win. So I've actually thought about trying to get the previous owner of the Hobbyplex to do a podcast with me about Nebraska football, but I'm not sure how I would ask him, and I'm not sure if he would actually do it. So, Richard, are you still there? What would we call? Because there's already a ton of football podcasts out there, but I've given this real thought. Like if I could get Ken to come in here and we do a Nebraska football podcast, wouldn't that be nuts?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Wouldn't that be insane? And he knows some people, so he might be able to get guests and stuff. So
he knows everybody.
I was gonna ask him. Eventually, I'm gonna ask him. Maybe it'll set it up for next year. But I was gonna ask him. I really was. It's like a.
It'd be kind of fun.
Oh, I think it would be fun, but would he actually do it? I don't know. I don't know if he'd actually do it.
He has the ability to get some.
I do need to ask him though.
Some
I need to
high-profile people.
I need to just straight up ask him. Like, stop being a pansy about it and just ask.
I mean, what's the worst he could say?
No. The worst he can say is no. I'm not going to be on camera. No. And even if I wasn't able to get him to do it, like I've actually given it thought about having a Nebraska football podcast amongst myself. But I feel like I'd have to get somebody else to do it too.
You would have to get somebody else.
That's also because it's just me ranting. There's enough of those on YouTube already.
Right.
Which I actually watch. So I watch Corn Crazed and of course Adam Carricker, but of course he's he's Adam Carricker. So
who'd you get?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that many. I don't know if anybody's. I don't even know. I'm information wise, like I'm not even privy to stuff. So like, it might be a lame idea because maybe I would just be another voice amongst.
You'd have to. There has to be. You'd have to have at least one other
like
hardcore.
Yeah, that's why I thought like he would be a perfect person because he's so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. I'll ask. I'm gonna ask him, but I got to build up the confidence. Or I got to like have a pitch, you know. I got to have a pitch about it.
Come up with a good name first.
Yeah, a name.
Run it through ChatGPT.
Have you seen those AI made like photos of old ladies, old grannies in what are their carts? Their little what do they call those things?
The little travel go-kart thingy?
Yeah, the little go-kart thing, the things that old people sit on and fat people. But like there's
when they travel through like the grocery stores in.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of like AI images being generated of like granny nights at dirt oval tracks, and they have like these grannies like they have these grannies like
are they all racing?
Yeah, they have these, so they're like running into each other and shit like that. And then there's another one. There's like a video of one that it just came through my Facebook feed today, and it was an actual video of the same sort of scenario, but they're doing all this crazy stuff. Like it's like they took like a skiing video and inserted an old lady on a cart.
Wait a second.
It's fantastic. It's hilarious.
So what is it, like Demolition Granny Derby or something?
Kind of, yeah, in a way, yeah. Yep. It all started like a couple months ago. I saw it on oh god, what's his name's Hendrickson. I saw it on Cole Hendrickson's Facebook feed. He's an old racer of ours. He actually announces like real races now at I think Adams County in Iowa, and it had that image, and I was like, well, that's really funny. And then I saw more and more of those things, and eventually I just saw a video of him. So I don't know. It was yeah.
Sounds hardcore.
Dude, AI is pretty funny, like the stuff that you can do with it. I hit up Margie once. I'm like, hey, can you give me an image of this? And it didn't quite hit.
You got to get the you have to get the paid subscriptions.
I know.
Get the good ones.
I know. Yeah, I know. I tried using the Google one recently to generate like a Family Friday off-road image, and it didn't do it. It like said there's not enough information for me to do it or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Have you guys started stocking up for Christmas? When the port strike started, I told Alex he might have issues getting parts in the future. So the port strike's actually over, so we don't have to worry about that. That lasted like 2 or 3 days. And I think they're getting some bad press because they were striking like right when the hurricane Helene came through. And then so that's over with. So I think there was a lot of worry out there. Like our Games Workshop guy was like, yeah, but all of our stuff comes from the UK, so might be a good time to like order more. And I was thinking about it, but it's they got it all figured out. So luckily, I think we're in a fairly decent place as far as parts supply goes. I think the TLR stuff's sort of settled down, and some of the new releases and stuff like that are having their usual first shipment sellouts, and then second shipment it gets a little easier, and third shipment gets a little easier. So stuff like the Armagroms, we kind of ordered up on. I think here's my thought about Christmas. So I do feel like there's a little bit of a economy pinch starting to happen. And I remember the last time working at a hobby store for 21 years now, like I tend to like see stuff, and I see how it goes from this to this. And you're thinking, God, are we even going to be able to stay open? So you're not going to have to worry about that around here. Knock on wood. But I do remember, like in 2008 and 2009, like I remember that everything went small. So like, when I first started working at the Plex in 2004 and 5, like we were selling HPI Savages left and right. And we were selling T-Maxes left and right. And we were selling Revos all the time. And LST2s and all these really big, expensive cars that even back then were, $500. And then there was definitely a switch, and it seemed like all of a sudden stuff got a lot smaller, and all of a sudden the stuff got a lot cheaper. So stuff like the Micro B and the Mini B 1.0, the original ones, the Mini Ts, at one point those were $89, and they were going like crazy because they were smaller and they were cheaper and everything was in the box. And I think that's what I'm seeing now is we're not selling the X-Max as often as we were 2 years ago. Now, that's not necessarily fair because, in my opinion, you can't look at 2020, 21, and even parts of 2022 and think that that's normal, because you just can't. Like, one of those years, we all got a bunch of free money, that a lot of people turned into big purchases. I did. I bought a scooter. And in 2020, say what you want about it, COVID was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to us business wise. Like we broke all of our sales records that year, because what else was everybody going to do, right? So, but now I definitely feel like there's definitely starting to be kind of a pinch happening. I think that's why you're seeing the Groms be very popular. I think that's why you're seeing more smaller stuff come out with that 150 price range and under. Even $200 lately, just I've noticed for people, has been one of those where they kind of look, like a parent, mom and dad will come in and they'll say, we want to get our son an RC car. And I'll be like, well, what's your price range? And they'll say about $100. And I'll be like, oof, that's not realistic. Let me show you this. This is $129. It's a Latrex, rally car. And then I'll show them a Granite, it's $219, and they'll both look at each other like, I don't know if we're going to do that. They still do it, but there's definitely more hesitancy. So I do think that's kind of where we're at. So I think that's one reason why you're seeing so much stuff come out that's smaller. Team Associate just came out with that cool little 27 scale, 24 scale, whatever scale that is. It's like a mini Z competitor. I think that's why you've seen the Groms and the Mini Bs are still doing really well and all that. So just throwing that out there. Just something I've noticed. I tend to notice stuff. Let's see. Anthony Sandy wants to know, I know it's been brought up all the time, but are we going to see a TLR coming up this year? I highly doubt it. I think if anything, I think if there is a new 2-wheel drive, I bet you it'll if they're going to do anything, it might be in the spring. But I don't think we're going to see anything this year. I really don't. Nate Sutherland just did really well at Hoosier, and that car's still rocking it, What's your thought on the Micro? Currently 3D printing a few jumps so the boys can play around with it. The Micro, we sold quick. I wasn't sure about that thing, but I think, again, it's that price point. It was $100 and little metal chassis now too. We probably should have ordered more, is what I'm thinking. But we've been sort of conservative as of late with getting a whole stack of stuff, because we don't want to be stuck with them. So, yeah, I think they're cool. We'll see if anybody brings them out tomorrow. I'd be curious to see, or if maybe even bring them out for the Mini Z racing, because that's they're close to that size. So I don't know. We'll find out. I think it'll be very interesting. Let's see. What else was I going to talk about today? Brought that up. I rode my scooter today. Now I'm hot. Like, I'm wearing my sweater, and I'm feeling hot because I had cold air blast on my face all the time I was here. What was I going to talk about next? This is hard. Being by myself, it's not like an after hours where I have something to work on and it's to show you guys. I'm trying to fill in an hour or so on the podcast. I just had something I was going to say too, and I totally forgot. Darn it. Anyways, bring something up in the chat so I can refocus my efforts here. This is fun. So like once again, Will's not here, so because he had to work, he messaged me as basically I was getting ready to come here, and I'm like, well, do I cancel it or do I just go ahead and go with it? Now we're gonna go ahead and go with it this time. So it's not like we haven't done it before, and I do talk to myself in real life, actually. So you think I'd be okay with it? I'm like basically talking to myself. Am I going to race oval this year with Traxxas having the new car? Probably not. I should, but the only way I'm going to race oval is if somebody actually has a car already set up that all I have to do is clock out, run downstairs, race it, come back upstairs, and then they just take the car and put it back on the charger or do whatever they need to do. That's the only way I'm going to be able to race oval. That's why I don't race oval. That's why I don't race onward that much, because usually when those are going on, I'm working in the store. I just don't think that it's a good idea for me to do that. So, we'll see. Will's kind of talked about letting me run his late model. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I actually have a lot of work to do this week to get that oval track in place. So, normally, I used to have Tuesday afternoons and Friday afternoons to work on the track or maybe fix something that was broke or just clean or do something. Now I have to work on all day on Tuesday. And so, yeah, setting up the oval is probably going to have to happen one of these nights coming up. And so that'll be fun, you know. But I mean, all it really is just doing the pipe. So the pipe that's on the track right now for the dirt was just kind of temporary. That's not the actual like techno layout or anything like that. I just wanted to get it all done and have something to race on for the weeks coming up. So, good question on there. I just got a message about the Techno series. I'm gonna message him back here. There we go. Are we doing... Oh, wait, hold on. 2 questions from Steve RC. Now that it's over, did you like the carpet dirt combination INS? It's not that I didn't like it. I just would prefer, if I'm going to travel, like if I'm going to spend my hard-earned money and travel to a race for me and Emerson, I would prefer it to be on dirt. And that's just my own personal preference. So, so next year I'm planning on doing the trackside, ours, and then Hoosier. And I think we're just going to skip the 2 carpet ones. Not that we don't like it. It's just like, unless my race at trackside turns out to be horrible and I need the points, then maybe I'll go to Muscatine. But, we race carpet in the wintertime, and going from a month and a half of dirt to carpet again, I don't know. It's just kind of, I've got separate cars for it, which is nice. But Emerson doesn't. So we had to like thrash on his stuff to get a carpet set up on it. And then we, you know, had to put it right back for the next one. So I don't know. Emerson might end up going. I bet you he goes to Muscatine with the boys maybe next year, just because he could maybe. But me personally, I'd rather just race on dirt. So I'm just gonna do the 3 on dirt, unless, you know, until they change it and they put 3 on carpet. Then I'll have to go to 1, at least one of them, and obviously I'd pick the closest one, which would be Iowa. So, again, it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that for me, I just prefer to race on dirt. That's all. Carpet's kind of a fun thing to do for a short period of time for me, but I just like dirt. Let's just put it that way. Are we going to do Roar Regionals again next year? No, we are not. We'll let that go to another track if they want it, and if they don't want it, we don't have time for it. So like this year, I knew that we weren't going to have the summer series in September because of the remodel. We were going to get it done early, and I'm like, oh yeah, we can do it in September sometime. But next year, the summer series will be end in September. So, yeah, and I kind of warned the guys. I kind of warned Chili about that too, because we were knowing that it was going to be in September. We were talking about dates with the Hobby Haven race and the regionals, and I'm like, well, you take whatever date you guys want, and I'll just be the week before it. And if people come, they come, and if they don't, they don't. But our summer series has always traditionally been that third weekend of September. So, I kind of tried to warn everybody, hey, we're going to be back to normal next year. So, just be aware. Because I don't think it's fair that we should have to be pushed out of our September date. Like people are trying to push out us at the end of February for the crash in. The crash in's been there since 2000. When did we start doing this? We're on carpet crash in 8. Is that right? So it'd be 8 years. 2016. So we've been doing carpet off-road since 2016 or 17. Like, and that race has always been the end of February. The last full weekend of February, every single year since 2016. It doesn't seem fair that we should have to be pushed out, like have tracks try to schedule stuff on top of that date, earlier and earlier and earlier, and then say, hey, we got there first, when I've been like, we've always been that date. So, kind of the same thing with the summer series. It's always kind of been that middle of September time frame. So, and if I have to put out the summer series schedule like December 1st, I guess I will. I don't, it's not like the thing that's on the top of my mind or whatever, but still. Jeremy M says, what's up, Alex? Hello. How are you guys doing? We got 20 people on here just watching me ramble to myself. Got about 15 more minutes, maybe, if we can fill some stuff in. I want to talk about, so yours truly got the Mugen MSB1, and I got to tell you guys, like, not a sponsored driver, paid for that car myself. Don't really have any allegiances to any car company anymore. I mean, I've ran Associated more than any other brand for the last 6 years, but I really liked that Mugen car at Hoosier. Like, I used it. I got it running a few weeks beforehand to run here at the Plex. Our track was kind of beat up, and the grip level wasn't consistent in there. But, dude, at Hoosier, man, I really liked it. And I ran half a practice with a gear diff in it. And the Mugen gear diff has these four little O-rings, and they create like a little bit of friction. And it's supposed to be for dirt, and I tried it with 2. So I was told to try 4 gear, 2 O-rings, 10,000 weight oil. And I went out there, man, and I was like, wow, this actually does really work. I was skeptical because the last time I ran a gear diff was on the 22 2.0 a long time ago. And it was horrible. Like, Will actually tried to get a gear diff to work, and I tried to get a gear diff to work for like weeks, and we just couldn't figure it out. And we're like, the heck with this. We're going back to a ball diff. And I ended up running a ball diff in qualifiers in the mains, but the gear diff was there, and I actually did like it. And then I broke it once, having an interaction with a slower car and with like a stock car, and I was running mod. I just wasn't patient enough. It's kind of my fault. So I broke a rear A-arm, which I thought was impossible in that car because they're like super thick. So then I was kind of worried because I only had one A-arm, and got it fixed. So I ran my B6.4D the rest of the night, and it was really good too. So then I was like, shoot, like what should I do? And I ended up running Mugen, and I qualified the third round of qualifying with it. And then I blew it in the main, but it wasn't the car's fault. So, I'm excited. I'm actually excited to run that car more on dirt. So I'm going to be looking for some races at other places. So I think I'm going to try to go to Trackside's Toys for Tots race in November. And it's only 7 hours away. And it's November 23rd. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we got carpet, but then I'm going to try to skip out of here and I'm going to try to get some more wheel time with that car. And then before I get back to the comments, just big shout out to my son, Emerson. So he made his first expert A main at Hoosier. He's made the A main before. He made it at Hobby Haven for the finals in 22. He's made the A main at our place before. Of course, when we went to Adrenaline, there wasn't enough to have 2 heats of mod 2 wheels, so he was racing mod 2 wheel at that time because it was fun. And but at Hoosier, the first year he was there, I think he was in the C. He went last year. I couldn't go, so I know he struggled a little bit. I think he ended up in I think he was in the C again last year. So he qualified 4th in expert stock, and I couldn't have been prouder of him. His first qualifier, he was up there and he just had 1 wreck. Came off, and I'm just like, dude, if you just got rid of that 1 wreck, man, you'd be top 5 easy. And he went out there 2nd round and he got 5th overall. And then he went out there 3rd round and he got a 3rd overall. So ended up qualifying 4th. And the mains were a little bit of a struggle. He A2, he was in 2nd because the 2 cars in front of him tangled, and he was able to get around him, and he was holding everybody off. And then he just bounced off this pipe. So there was, if you go back and watch the mod replay where Brock and Chase were racing, I think it was A3 of 4-wheel drive maybe. And Brock was kind of like jumping over the corner itself and landing in front. And Emerson was getting dangerously close to that. But in stock, you couldn't really do that in stock. So in stock and in stadium truck, he landed in the same spot on the pipe, and it kicked him. And he ended up needing Marshall. So in A2, he went from 2nd to like 8th. And then I think he ended up finishing 6th. And then in A3, he was in, I think he was up there racing for 4th with Doug LaRiviere. And he made a bonkers pass on him, and it was clean. And Doug is such a good racer because, like, here's the difference between, I'm gonna try to explain to you guys the difference between what the pros and some of the expert drivers do when they race versus what, the noob coming up, the Plex Specker or the independent driver. It's a lot of times what I see is when you're beat, right? So if somebody's got you, what Doug and Emerson did was Emerson found the space and got his car in there, and instead of Doug trying to block him late, he recognized, okay, he passed me there. But then he passed him back on the next corner. So they gave each other room to actually race and pass. And it was really good. And Emerson ended up crashing on that next corner. So by Doug allowing Emerson to take that spot for the moment and then set himself up in the next corner and Emerson crashes, well, Doug gets to go on and have that spot. If he would have just blocked him, right, or tried to block him, at that point, then they both would have been wrecked, and they both probably would have lost 2 or 3 spots. So I feel like a lot of times what I see in the up-and-coming new drivers, they just don't want to give up the spot. And so a lot of times if somebody has you, they have you, right? And so what I see a lot of times is they'll block, but they'll do it way too late, and then they end up crashing both cars, and then both people get upset. So that's part of the racecraft, I guess, is knowing when you're beat and learning how to keep yourself in the game so that you can make a pass on the next corner, or learn from that and see if you can get it back, at some point where they're slow, and instead of just taking each other out. So super big props to Doug for that. And then Emerson, again, did awesome. I think he ended up finishing like 7th or 6th and 7th in that one too. Ended up 9th overall because that first main, he got clobbered on the first lap. And he went from 4th to last. And and then he crashed a couple times after that because I'm pretty sure he was probably pretty flustered. So, and then he made the A main, obviously in stadium truck, finished second, qualified second, finished second. Just Cal Holmberg has had our number this year. So, but Emerson's going to get one of those truck wins eventually. So it's going to be good. And in four-wheel drive, he struggled, but still made the B, which is one main higher than last year, I'm pretty sure. So Emerson's definitely improved. And the crazy thing is, he took a 2.5 month break. Like, he didn't even touch his stuff since INS. Like, he worked on it a little bit. He got some laps in the Friday night before we left that Wednesday, like a family Friday off road. And then when we got there in the pits, you know, we just it was kind of fun to bounce stuff off of each other. He'd ask me something, I'd be like, yeah, you should do that. And I'm like, what do you think about this? And he's like, well, this is what I did. So that was pretty enjoyable too. And knowing that really, you know, for the most part, I don't even have to look at his stuff. He pretty much works on his own stuff. So that is pretty freaking awesome. Back to the comments. Jeremy M says he's doing well, and we'll try to make a Winter Series race this spring. So that's good. They gonna run a Salvis Mud Boss class? I have no idea. The oval thing's not my deal, so that's a Tim question. Anthony Santi says the associated gear diff comes with tiny O-rings to go on the back of each gear. Is that the same thing as the Mugen gear diff? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. And I mean, it worked. I mean, normally, you know, when I ran a gear diff last time, there were no O-rings, and it was a 4-gear metal spider gears, and I don't even remember what I ran in the Losi car because it was so long ago. But I mean, you just couldn't get that thing to accelerate. Like, it would just, you go into a corner and just diff out no matter what you did. I know we tried different weights, and I think we went all the way up to like 30K, maybe even somewhere around there. You know, we went light and then heavy, and we just could never get it to work right. And so I was a little skeptical, but dude, I mean, and then for carpet, I think they're calling for just 2 spider gears, and I'm not sure about the oil, but you don't use the O-rings and you're only running 2. So like in my B6.4 right now on carpet, I'm running a 2-gear with like I'm running a 2-gear with 100,000 weight oil on Saturday. And I think in Muscatine, I ran a 2-gear with 80,000 weight oil because you're only running 2 gears. And it was like silky smooth and had all the good acceleration and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, pretty sure that's what that's for. Steve Racine says, I enjoyed your race announcement with Matt Olson. Yeah, he was trying to get me to come up there, and I was like, dude, like, between Emerson and I, like, we don't really have a break. Like, at Muscatine, we had like a 2-hour-long break. And so I was just trying to find something to do. So I was like, hey, Matt, can I join you? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. On this one, he's like, come on up. And I'm like, yeah, I will try to make time, but it's hard because all of our races are, you know, there wasn't much of a gap. And so, but I did. I was able to make some time when I could, and it was fun. And I really enjoy doing that too. So hopefully one of these days he'll hire me or Live RC will hire me again for something that hopefully I did well enough with them that they'd want me back. So, any more questions? Because I'm going to get out of here. It's almost an hour and a half since we've been on. I think it says 73 minutes. So, I got a couple more messages I got to take care of when I get home, and I got my computer up so I can work on our RC sign up for the Techno Series and make sure everything's good there. It looked like, for the most part, everything went smoothly. So, that's all I got tonight. Sorry once again that Will's not here with us, but I didn't want to skip one. We haven't done one of these in a long time. Look forward to some after hours coming up here eventually. So I'm thinking as it gets colder and I'm not able to take my boat out on the water, we'll probably do a Monday night after hours to work on some stuff. I have a shit ton of I don't want to cuss too much, but I have that much like projects. I've got so many projects. It's insane. So there'll be plenty of work on this winter. as we get back into the kind of the off season for me. All my days off this year, if I could, I'm out on my cool boat that I bought. It's a little pond prowler, 10-foot little baby bass boat, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun. And I've caught a heck of a lot of fish. I was really worried that I would get this thing, and then like all the fish that I would catch from it would be from a place where I could have caught it from shore, and it'd be a huge waste of money, and I could have just saved what I spent on it and just fish from shore again this year. That has not been the case. So almost every single cool fish that I've caught this year has been a spot that you could not get from the shore. So it's been really good, and I've been really happy. So I went out today and I caught a bass, a nice bass, not a huge bass, not my PB bass for this lake, but at least I caught one. And I've been trying to try different techniques and learn different techniques this year. So I started out in the springtime. Like last year, I used nothing but like topwater frogs and stuff all season. And then that dropped off, and then I went to like just a regular spinner. I know I'm talking not RC stuff now, but this is exciting to me. And then this year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn how to use plastic worms because I suck at it. Like up to this year, I don't think I've ever caught a fish on a Texas rig in my life, right? And I'm 45 years old. So I've had Texas rigs on plenty of times when I was a kid, never caught anything. And I just got like, super frustrated. And I'd always switch like a crankbait or live bait or something like that. And this year, I caught a bunch of fish on Senkos. So I was on a Texas rig Senko. I was super happy on how that worked out. So a couple weeks ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try a drop shot again. And because I tried a drop shot in the spring and I got really no success on it. And I felt like I gave up on it too soon. And so a couple weeks ago with Ryan Krause, we went out and I used a drop shot, and we were catching a bunch of little bluegill for bait, basically for catfish bait. And I was pretty happy because the drop shot actually worked. Well, then today I'm like, I'm going to take the drop shot back out there. I put a little bit heavier weight on and caught a ton of bluegill, like a lot. Like I was almost getting bored how many bluegill I was catching. But I also caught a couple bass on a drop shot today. And that was my first bass on a drop shot. And then the next one was bigger and picture worthy. And that was also caught on a drop shot. So it's pretty happy with how today went out. I didn't catch any big channel cats or anything like that, but at least I had some success there. So not a huge waste. That's all I got. Nothing super funny. If Will was here, I'd probably riff some stories of some customers the last couple of weeks, but it actually hasn't been that bad. You guys have been really good, like customer wise. Nobody ticking me off, and okay, one guy ticked me off, but well, whatever. It's fine. That's bound to happen. It's retail. It's what it does. Yeah. I think that's all I got. Cue the music. All right, we're going to do this again hopefully soon. We'll have Will back, and we'll talk all his stuff along with our stuff. And, yeah, we'll get going again. But I did not want to not do one for a while, and we were planning on doing one today. So here we are. You got me for an hour and a half by myself. Super exciting. We'll see you later. This was Alex Sturgeon, Hobbytown Hobbyplex podcast. Hobbyplex show podcast. I don't know, whatever I'm saying. And appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for the subscribers. I'm almost up to 5,100 subscribers. So that's pretty awesome. We passed 5,000 mark about 2 months ago. Which is pretty freaking cool. Don't win anything from YouTube, but that's okay. I just get to say I have 5,000 subscribers. See you later.